Hi, everyone. In this video, we're going to look at some examples of computing ROI, or return on investment. And so to recap very briefly, ROI, return on investment, gives us the percent increase of an investment. It's the percent increase of the money that you put in as a percentage of the principal. The formula for it is F minus P over P. And this is also the same as doing F over P, then subtracting 1. So this F minus P term, this is the total money earned. This is like your profit. It's money earned beyond what you put in. What we're saying is we're taking our principal away from the total value of the money. If I invest $100 and then I gain $10, then my final value is going to be $110. I'm going to take that 100 away to see how much should I grow. And that's going to be that subtracting the P, because we want to know how much we grew beyond what we put in. And so if you can directly find the interest of how much interest is made during the investment, you can use this I as F minus P. Because for the investments we're looking at, I, interest, is the only way an investment grows. In reality, there are other ways that investments can grow. You can invest in stocks, which we're not really going to talk about in detail, but you can have stock price increase, which increases the money that you make. But for what we're going to talk about, it's only going to be in the form of interest. So you invest $1,500 into a savings account bearing 4.3% interest compounded monthly for 8 years. What is the ROI? So here, we need to first find the future value. And we're going to use the compound interest formula because we see that it's compounded monthly. So that's going to be P times 1 plus R over N to the N times T. Now let's collect our variables. So here, our P, this is our initial investment. That's going to be $1,500. Then R is 0.043, because we do 4.3% as a decimal. N is going to be 12, because we're compounding monthly. So there's 12 months in a year, 12 compounding periods. And T is going to be 8, because we're doing the investment lasts for 8 years. So now let's do N times T. That's 12 times 8 equals 96. So that's how the NT tells us the total number of compounding periods throughout the entire investment. So we're going to have 96 compounding periods. Now let's just do this step by step like we've been doing. R over N, that's 0.043 over 12. Okay, and I'm going to round to 9 decimal places. 0.003583333. So 1 plus R over N is 1.003583333. Then 1 plus R over N to the NT. This is 1.003583333 to the 96th power, which is power 96. That's going to be about 1.409711542. And then finally, I'm going to multiply this number. So I'm going to take F equals E times 1 plus R over N to the NT. So that's going to be 1,500 times this number that we just found. So 1,500 times 1.409711542. 542 is equal to 2,114.57. And here, because this is an answer that's dollars and cents, I'm going to be rounding it to 2 decimal places. This is my future value. And so now to find the ROI, I want to find the amount of interest I make. And so the amount of interest, well, the only way we're making money, right? Our investment has grown. We started at 1,500 and now we're at 21, a little over 2,100. So the reason it's growing is because of interest. So the amount of interest is F minus P, which is 2,114.57, minus this original 1,500, and we get $614.57. And now we're going to express this as a percentage of our initial investment P. So we get ROI is equal to F minus P over P, which equals 614.57 over 1,500. And this is equal to approximately 0.4097 or 40.97%. Okay, so this is represented as a decimal, this is as a percentage. So that's a 40.97% return on investment, which is pretty high. Okay, let's move on. You purchase a bond for $2,500 with interest rate 5.7% and maturity in 30 years. What is the ROI? And so remember, for bonds, we use simple interest formulas. And so some of our formulas, we have a formula for simple interest for the interest itself, which is P times R times T. And then our future value is the principal plus the interest, which is equal to P times 1 plus R times T. And so notice F minus P in this case, if we substitute this P plus I for F, this is P plus I minus P. These P's cancel out, and we just get I. And so if we're going to compute the return on investment, we don't really need to compute F, we really just need to compute I. So here, we can just directly use this formula to compute our interest, which is our future value minus principal. So our interest, we need our P, which is the initial amount we invested. That's the amount we paid for the bond, which is $2,500. R is our percentage our interest rate as a decimal. So that's 5.7% becomes 0.057. And T is the amount of time until maturity, which in this case is 30 years. So so F minus P, which is interest, is P times R times T, which is 2,500 times 0.057 times 30. Which is 4,275. Now, if you're curious, you can divide this by 30 and get that you get $142.50 each year, but that's not really what the question is asking. So this is the total amount earned in interest. Over these 30 years. Over 30 years. Okay, and so what we're getting is that our return on investment is F minus P over P, which in this case is just the interest over the principal, which is 4,275 divided by our principal of 2,500. We get 1.71, or as a percentage, this is, or 171%, which is a big return on investment. Last one, you invest $5,000 into a savings account bearing 3.7% interest, compounded up, this should say quarterly. 12 years. What is the return on investment? So first, just like before, because we're doing compound interest, we don't have a direct formula for the interest. We have to compute the future value and then subtract our principal. So, like before, f equals p times 1 plus r over n to the n times t. And in this case, our p, our principal, is $5,000. R is 0.037. N is 4 because it's quarterly, so that's 4 times per year. And T is 12, so we're doing 12 years. And N times T is 4 times 12, which is 40 years. Okay, and now we just work from the inside out, just like we've been doing. So R over N is 0.037 over 4. This is 0.00925. So 1 plus R over N is 1.00925. Now 1 plus R over N, it's the NT, is 1.00925 to the N times T's power, which we found to be 48. So putting this into my calculator, we get 1.555752,072. Finally, we can compute our future value by multiplying this by our principal, which is 5,000. So 5,000 times 1.555752,072. Which is $7,778.76. So this is our future value. Now to find the interest, or to find our, the total amount of money that we made, we subtract away the initial $5,000 that we invested. So this is $7,778.76. 2 decimal places for dollars and cents, minus 5,000 equals $2,778.76. Now our ROI is F minus P, so that's $2,778.76 over the initial $5,000. Which equals 0.5558 or 55.58%. Now, something I said before was we can do this F minus P over P, or this is the same as F over P minus 1. So if we do F over P minus 1, F over P, this is $7,778.76 divided by 5,000. We get 777876 over 5,000 equals 1.5558. And so F over P minus 1 equals 0.5558, which is the same. Okay? So you can do either of these. Just make sure you pick one and get comfortable with it and stick to it. So hopefully you get a better feel for computing these ROIs. The big difference here is for simple interest, we have a formula that directly computes interest. I equals PRT. That is our formula that computes interest. For compound interest, we do not have a formula that directly computes this. Besides just computing the future value and subtracting the principal. But we don't have a direct formula for the interest, so we need to find F, our future value, then subtract P. Okay, and so for bonds always use simple interest, so we could do it there. For compound interest, so our savings accounts, they were compound, and so we had to find F first. That's going to be all for this video.